Yeah, it seems to be spreading it like it's supposed to be doing. It seems to be spreading this out because there's not so much a high rise now, but I needed to make sure I worked up from up here a little bit.
Yep.
Because there was a little bit more there, and that seemed to be helping disperse the metal down this way.
Good.
Yeah. Because now I'm not hitting this. This I kept hitting at one point, and I was hammering, and I'd have to go back on the other side, and then of course when you're going. Well, not of course, but when you're hammering, you're going back and forth. If you do that, then it starts to weaken the metal because the metal just keeps fluctuating. Eventually, it loses its integrity.
The
And
work
so,
hardens.
Yeah. So, working this. Working this into it is helping. It still has some small lumps, but it's going to be a lot better than it was before. There's some high rises over here, but this is already starting to go down. But as I'm doing it, I also want to check it periodically. So if I go too far with something, then I'm going to have to rework it back out the other way, which I've done before. Not just from experience, but from my dad telling me about it too, to make sure I'm not getting too far ahead of myself. Because otherwise, I'm just doing the same thing over and over and just messing it up. So it's better to check as you're doing it. And if I was doing it with a dolly on the other side, you'd be able to hear when it gets to the point where all the metal's flat, because it'll make a tink kind of sound. I can take the dolly that I have here. See if I can give an example. So, it's very, very faint.
Hear how it changed. Hear the tink?
So, when I hear the tink, that means everything's flush. Or at least as flush as possible. Because we still are going to have to add in small amounts of Bondo or something.
Yeah.
But that's honestly like really nice knowing that I'm getting really close to what the original factory has laid out here. So
That used to be the worst part of the truck.
yeah. So once you start hearing things like that, it clears that metal out, and then we're using this here, and I can't remember what the name of this.
Body file.
This is a body file, and that's where you see all these different marks are from. Or we were trying to find the high points and the low points as we run the body file across these areas here. We don't want to do it too much because of course we expose the metal and that can start rusting. But what we can start seeing is where the high and low points are as we do that. Because right here, there's still a little bit of a low point. Because if it wasn't a low point, then I'd be scraping some of this off too. So what I'd be able to do is go in and I'd be able to use maybe some of the curve here. Make sure B. You hear that tink, and you can even see a little bit of the paint chipped up when I did that. So, working back and forth on that. Because it's not a fast process. It's fairly slow, but it's impatience starts to come in. And I'd probably have to work on the inside here to get a little bit of that up, because that's not gonna, I can't work that. I'm just gonna be hammering around it, and it's just only gonna make that work look like it's worse. So I would want to bring this right on this side, and I hammer on the inside here. Which you need to see, because it may be okay with light, but not that good. And once again, hear a little bit of tink. Just swing it back and forth. And like I said, it's not going to be perfect, but I am getting small amounts, small faint scrapes here. And overall, I'm actually very pleased with that, because there's not, humans can detect, like, I can't remember the percentile of what they can detect when they're running their finger across something, but my finger can feel just a small amount of a divot there. But honestly, once we get all of this off and prime it and paint it, it's not going to be that noticeable. Like, I'd have to have known that was there to really be looking for it. So all of that just starts to come together, and there's a lot of work that I'm putting into making sure that that the dent that was put in here from whatever fell on it is now going away. But overall, I can run my hand over here and feel the various low and high points. But I could spend hours on this and probably never have it completely perfect. But like this area, this is a big problem area. This area is much better now. It used to have a very definitive line running straight through from this side all the way to the bottom. But now we've got this. This is our big problem area, but I'll be working on more of that at another time. But overall, pulling this down, because there's a dent on there from it sitting on top of here, having that pulled down, which we'll be using a different technique. There's little rods we weld onto here, and we pull it down, and that'll help straighten that out, because there's no space on the other side to be able to hammer and dolly that into place. So we'll be able to use some new techniques that we haven't used before. And once that's pulled into place, we can weld this in and then work on getting that into shape. But honestly, a lot of this is going to be covered by the bed of the truck once the bed is on here. So really, a lot of it's just going to be, how much do I want to not worry about it being there, and can I sleep at night once I'm done with it.